This is the second game of me versus Bionod, 9-0 versus Orc. Lost Temple, as always. The whole tournament was on Lost Temple, as it is the most fair map in all situations. So that is the reason for that. This is the second round. Going into the winner of this would move into the top 8. So that was where that goes. As you can see, fairly close locations, which works toward my advantage. I'll be able to easily push him. In my personal opinion, the best strategy you can do is scouting versus Orc. If you scout, you'll always be able to win. As you can see, I scouted Leo Laporte, knew he was going to do a Grunt Tower Rush, or some form of rush. I was prepared for that, to a certain degree. Now this guy, I know he's going to tech because I've played him 3 or 4 times before in 1v1. He always techs, and he always loses. This guy, in my opinion, is not a very good player for the simple reason that he doesn't understand the complicated parts of the game. He just understands, mass shamans is good. He doesn't understand why it works. He doesn't understand the fundamentals of my game, and that's my opinion. Whether it be right or wrong, that's the way I see it. Anyways, my whole plan is basically, if I see some kind of early rush, I'll do what I did versus Leo Laporte, except I won't forget my hunters all this time. If I see some sort of long game, like Taurons, Shamans, Wyverns, I'll do the fast ballista push, but versus Wyverns, I won't actually probably build ballistas. I'll just probably build mass archers, because there's no real reason to build ballistas, because unless they build a tower, you can really siege their base with just archers alone. And usually if they're going Wyverns, they won't build a tower. So as you can see, he immediately upgrades up to tier 2, doing the fast tech build. As you can see, I also scout out extremely fast. I'm actually double scouting here to make sure I know what race he is and I'm always prepared. You also see, normally I do a Keeper of the Grove in Tangle Rush. Many of you normally probably have noticed that. In these games of building Demon Hunter, the reason for this is because the Demon Hunter works versus random, and even though both these opponents picked their race, I wanted something that was more stable. And the Demon Hunter is more stable than the Keeper of the Grove. The Keeper of the Grove works as long as they don't micro very well. If they can micro well, you won't kill any of their units with their peons, and they can counter-rush you and be twice as effective. A counter-rush on me losing my Wisp, is extremely destructive toward my push because I need all the lumber I can get. That's why I built the Demon Hunter, because anyone who wants to try to counter-rush me, I'll be able to handle much better with the Demon Hunter. Especially, I'll be able to handle that double hero rush, if any of you guys have seen that, where you immediately upgrade your stronghold as soon as the game starts. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but the Fats Demon Hunter really stops that much better than, for say, the Keeper of the Grove, just based off his damage and the ability to use Moonwells with Evade. Really is able to stop double heroes much better. Plus, Entangle's fairly worse with the Blade Master. I see sending out a peon. I find this very, very interesting because what this means to me is he's trying to tower something. Anyone that sends out a peon that early, other than to scout, is trying to tower one of the quarters, and by building tower, they're trying to basically hold off and get an expansion. So I immediately knew to watch that bottom left corner for any forms of expansions that he might try to do. Now also, this costs Bionod the game seriously. He puts this burrow in a horrible position that is away from his other burrows, not protected, and in no way trapping me. And that really hurts him because it doesn't allow him to do a lot of stuff which normally he might have been able to. And you'll see how destructive this is later. And while it works out pretty well for him, it allows him to protect all his buildings without losing anything. He's losing some economy there, which is hurting him. I mean, he's losing lumber when he's not mining there. I mean, he's got 800 gold. He's only got 120 lumber. He should have more like 300 lumber right now. And that's going to hurt him when he wants to build a second hero. And you can see here he's creeping the middle, smart, going after items, trying to get what he can get. I'm just trying to harass him and make sure. And this is the thing I love about this. My harassment strategy, the thing that I love about that is it's basically free scouting. You don't got to send units in to scout. Your hero's doing it for you. That's really one thing I don't really like about Warcraft 3, the beta test, is that you have to send units out to scout because the harassment factor doesn't work with just one hero anymore. And that, I mean, yeah, you have to scout, but a lot of time your scout never actually reaches their base. But that was just kind of a side note. I'm sure those of you that don't have the beta aren't interested in that. And you can see he's going Shamans, no real surprise there. It's very interesting that he did build a barracks, but once again, he's sending the peon there. I know he's going to try to tower that up, and I know he's going to try to do something with that there. And so I'm going to try to be vigilant with that. He got both good items there, as you can see. A ring into agility is boosting his armor up to 8, which is pretty nice on a Blade Master, as anyone could guess. He gets a second hero. I mean, this is a fairly standard build order he's got right here. I mean, other than the barracks, it's no real surprise there. And you see I got mana burn. I don't even believe I researched the skill up until that point, until I saw as far as here, and I realized that getting rid of some wolves would benefit me early on, because it means I can get abolished a little bit later and not really have to deal with wolves if he doesn't have 300 mana and he's only got, say, 100 mana for one set of wolves. One set of wolves is no problem. I can deal with that pretty easy. And you see my goal here is really to try to just harass him, stop him from creeping, annoy him as much as possible, and I think I'm doing that pretty well, because right now he could be double creeping with both his heroes and getting some XP, getting some items, but he's not doing anything right now. He's just chasing me around and losing mana. He gets his second Spirit Lodge there. Still hasn't built any towers. I really expected him to do that much earlier, but I guess that's not really what he's going for right now. You see, I'm gearing up. I already got my hundreds going. And I'm getting ready to do a launch and fast attack. I also noticed he wasn't teching up as fast as possible. I noticed that because he built a barracks. If you build a barracks, you obviously don't have as much money and lumber, therefore you can't tech as quickly. So since I knew that was going to happen, as you can see, I didn't immediately build 2 ballistas as I normally would. I built some other units because I knew I could harass him a little bit. Now, this is interesting. He actually creeps this with just his heroes. And, a lot of people will build a tower here and use their Blade Master or Farseer and kind of hit and run the thing and do it that way. That way they can creep this extremely fast with a tower. You see a lot of people do that. And this is one thing I really don't like with these rock golems. You almost see no rock golems in the beta test. I think this is one of the biggest reasons, is because it got ridiculous how easy it was to abuse the AI on certain creeps, and the rock golem's one of them. But I'll skip back over to the real game here. He's building troll headhunters, which is smart. Headhunters give him range, they keep him away from my dryads. Just in general, it's a pretty good idea, but if you look at the position of his burrows, this is going to hurt him. He really has nothing he can do to defend these burrows. He can send in workers, he can purge my guys, but he can't defend these burrows. He has no way to repair them as fast as I do damage, and that's going to cost him, because really, he's not going to have any way of stopping my heroes, and because his heroes are creeping right now, he's not going to do anything there either. So you see, I'm just starting to harass him here. I'm using Entangle to weaken up his units, soften them up, so when it comes down to the real battle, I'll be much more prepared. He TP's in, realizing that he has to do something, because right now he really can't produce any units, and I'm just using Entangle to kill his units off. I also realized that if I hurt his heroes, that will benefit me a lot, because I can always go back to my Moonwells and heal my heroes up. He can't do that. So if I wound up his heroes, that's the most beneficial thing I can really do. And you can see, I'm going after his troll headhunters. I'm just trying to hit his units up as well as I can. Hurt them up, harass them up, hit them with some slow poison, just cut down their life to make my life easier earlier on. And I'm really going to be able to do that with dryads and hunts real well. So you can see I'm starting to upgrade. I'm basically going to stick around the 40 supply limit, get my maximum gold out. I realize my Demon Hunter's kind of taking a pounding here, but he really doesn't have much at this point. I mean, he's got a lot of money, but he can't... Well, actually, he doesn't even have that much money. I thought he had more than that. Weird, he doesn't have that much money. Maybe he's having to rebuild some burrows. As you can see, he's trying to use Purge to keep my units down, but it's not really working out for him because of Moonwells. As you can see, I TP back to get a quick jump back to my base, heal up both of the units he wounded up, and I'm going to go back in there stronger, even more destructive than before. All my units are at full life now.